you started, can you tell the crowd how you fell in love with hip hop?
Yeah, that's a good question. um, I would say when I first fell in love with hip hop, I just take it. I just put it in kind of like a chronological order. I have to take it all the way back to like Grandmaster Flash, the Furious Five, and that song, "The Message." I would say that was one of the records that sparked my love for hip hop. But taking it up like through the middle '80s, because see, I'm an '80s baby, so um, Ice T on at 6 in the morning, um, Ron Kim, of course, Coogee Rap, um, NWA, Easy E, DOC, all those type of artists, Public Enemy, X Clan. Um, yeah, I would say like the '80s and the '90s. That's when I fell in love with hip hop.
Okay. Okay. Now the first question I got for you is, since the beginning of times, our black brothers and sisters have been involved in mass execution. Can you take us back on a trip of how the slave trade started?
Yeah, we have to take that back all the way back to the continent of Africa, the west coast of Africa. I would say around like the 1800s into like the 1500s is when the slave trade started to begin. You had several European nations. A lot of people get it confused. It was several European nations that invaded Africa that facilitated the slave trade, but the three main facilitators of the slave trade was the British, the Portuguese, and the Spanish. And when they went into Africa, uh, and people got to put this in the proper context. People got to understand that this ain't like no like a simple invasion and things of that nature. This was war. See, a lot of people when they teaching this type of history, they like to leave that aspect out and then try to make it like it's something that just happened spontaneous. This was warfare. Like because before these European nations invaded Africa, people got to understand that these were African nations, even though they were tribes. They was various nations, and a lot of people don't understand that dynamic when they speaking on the history of it. So I would say like the late 1400s until like the early 1500s is when those European nations went into West Africa and they started to facilitate what we know today as the transatlantic slave trade when they kidnapped our ancestors, captured our ancestors, who are actually political prisoners of war, and they brought them to another continent, which is the Americas.
Okay. Now in Deuteronomy 28:68, it says, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way thereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you." Is this because we turned our face against the Most High, or did the slave masters make the Bible?
See that last part of the question again?
Did the slave masters create the Bible?
That's tricky. That's tricky. That's very
Yeah.
tricky because at the end of the day, this is how I perceive it and how I teach it to people is that you got to understand like a lot of that information in the Bible is our ancestors' information. But like everything that the white man has done throughout history, you got to understand colonialism. You know what I'm saying? This is something people gotta study and understand scientifically the aspect of colonialism. So when it comes to the Bible, I always like to tell people it's basically a split of both because I feel like the white man conquered the Bible. That's just my opinion. You feel me?
Okay.
But I feel like it's a duty as black people, or whatever you identify with, African, black people, whatever you Hebrew or Muslim or whatever you identify with. You feel me? I feel like it's your duty to go within that information and pull out the truth of our ancestors because we know our ancestors created all this information, regardless of how people try to put it out to the world. We know the
Yeah.
foundation is our ancestors, period. You know what I'm saying? Did the white man conquer it and revise it? Hell yeah. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But we already got this natural birthright of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to like, even when we reading stuff like that, even though the white man may have twisted and revised it, we still got this thing that's built within us, our ancestors, that we can pull the truth out of that. You see what I'm saying? And it's a lot of truth in the Bible. Even though I'm not a Hebrew, even though I'm not a Christian or things of that nature, I got the common sense to understand that that's still ours. Even though I'm not a Hebrew. You see what I'm saying?
That's
it's
real.
still ours.
That's real.
That's ours. So due to my birthright of who we are as a people, I have to take that information and find the truth in it. That's how I see it.
That's real. Is it true that a group of beings were made in the image of God and a group of beings were made in the image of the devil?
That again, that's kind of tricky because myself, I'm a descendant of Igbo people. I'm gonna just put that out there to use that as a basis. I'm a descendant of Igbo people. So Igbo people have like this history that's kind of like split. We have our traditional ancestor beliefs, you know what I'm saying? That's traditional, but you also got a segment of Igbo people that are Hebrew. That's what they believe in. That's what they that's what they live by. They live by that. You see what I'm saying? So I don't discriminate on that because I know my ancestors are both. So when dealing with man created in the image of God and was man created in the image of the devil, I would say scientifically, you feel me? It's kind of deeper. It's kind of deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I feel like us as human beings, I feel like we are a manifestation of a higher self and a lower self. I believe we have both within us. You see what I'm saying? And I feel that it's a constant. I feel that it's a constant battle between those two energies. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whether it's the God or the devil, whatever you want to call it. I feel like it's an internal battle. You know what I'm saying? It's an internal battle. You see what I'm saying? That you have to overcome between those two entities, those two energies that you got to try to conquer. You know what I'm saying? Not even really conquer, but try to balance it. You know what I'm saying? Because no matter how you look at it, it's an eternal battle between those energies, and you have to find a scientific method to balance those two in order for you to be a great, to be a great man, a good man, a productive human being of the Most High, which we call in Igbo language, we call the Most High Chukwu.
Okay. Now, on all four corners of the earth, black people were indigenous, and the Europeans came and stole the land. Can you name some of our ancestors who were warriors that fought hand in hand against these devils?
Most definitely, because like I said, we take this back to the motherland. We take this back to our throne. So it was many warriors over there on the continent that was trying to fight off the slave trade in the first place, and the invaders in the first place. People like Queen Nzinga, people like the warrior Ya Asantewa, because a lot of people like to leave out the women warriors. It was a lot of women warriors, just as many as the men that were slaughtering these enemies. You know what I'm saying? Like really like taking the war to them. So that's why I like to always start with like the women, because it's a lot of black people that don't know about the women warriors who were putting it down. You know what I'm saying? Like putting it down. And it was several queens out in Nigeria that were slaying the European nations, man, before they even kidnapped and captured those ancestors and brought them across the water. But the most the most known warriors is in the Americas. In the Americas, North America, South America, people like Nat Turner, Gabriel Prosser, it's a whole lot of people, man, in the Americas. Denmark Vesey, it's a whole lot of them. It's probably too many to name. You know what I'm saying? But I will put this in there. I'll put this in there. For new African black people to study the history of South America. Called the Colombos. It was a history called the Colombos, and these Africans were taken from like the west coast of Africa as well and brought to South America, where the second largest population of black people, African people in the world reside today is in Brazil. I would advise people to study those warriors of the Colombo kingdoms of South America. Man, they put it down. They was putting in massive work on the oppressors, the Europeans, man.
Okay. Now, fast forward to today, we in the United States, which is a corporation, which is controlled by a group of Europeans. Are there still laws in place to keep black people down?
Most definitely, because you got to understand how the United States was founded. You know what I'm saying? Like you just said, like you just mentioned a few minutes ago, we got to understand that black people are indigenous to every of earth. Allah, we call earth Allah in Igbo language. That means land. Allah means land.
Okay.
We are the indigenous peoples. You know what I'm saying? And this is something that I'm always trying to teach our brothers and sisters, that they get that term confused. You know what I'm saying? Because when somebody says something about indigenous peoples or indigenous nations, they automatically think the other, like the Indians, the Chicanos, like the people that's kind of like mixed breeds of human beings. The first thing that comes to their mind when we say indigenous, they think of those people. So they don't really see that black people don't really see themselves as indigenous. So when I'm making that point right there, like black people, new African people, whatever you identify with, you know what I'm saying? Hebrew people, Moors, I don't care what you identify. You got to understand when you hear that terminology indigenous, they're talking about you first. Because you are the original man. You are the original woman. We created nationhood. We are the first nation. You know what I'm saying? So now when we're moving into how America was established, United States of America as a corporation, on how it was established, you got to understand, even with the Moorish Empire, whatever you want to call it, the Aborigines and all those type of people, they encountered these Europeans, the British, the Portuguese, the Spanish. They got to understand that these people didn't have no kind of like understanding of what nationhood, constitutions, laws, treaties were until they met these people. Until they met the indigenous nations. You see what I'm saying? So everything you see that America is founded on is stolen. The Constitution, the laws, and things of that nature. But being the devil, you gotta understand, being the devil that these Europeans are, they took those laws and changed those laws to benefit their conquering indigenous nations. You see what I'm saying? So when we look at the laws today, of the United States of America, they are European settler laws. They are conquering laws. You see what I'm saying? They are not the original laws of this land. You know what I'm saying? Because there were original laws on this land that stood on peace and harmony and justice, land and nationhood. That's indigenous people. You feel me? That's our laws. You see what I'm saying? Look at their laws. Their laws are nothing but colonial, you know what I'm saying, slave laws. They don't benefit our people. They keeping our people enslaved, keeping us in colonies, keeping us as a colonized people. You see what I'm saying? So, but the one thing I will say is that can we use certain laws that we know was created against us strategically to fight back against them? Yes. Yes. We definitely can do that. But I wouldn't use that as a foundation to get black liberation or get freedom. No.
Okay. Hold on, just a second.
Okay.
Let me get this together. All right. Is it true that the 1,700 U.S. congressmen owned and enslaved black people? Can you speak on that?
You said the 1,700 who?
U.S. congressmen that own and enslave black people. Can you speak on that?
Oh yes. That was something that was just revealed recently. I mean, even though common sense would tell black people, but a lot of black people don't use their common sense. But it's common sense that we know for a fact that it was people that was a part of the United States government and the Confederate States government that enslaved and owned our ancestors. That's common sense. But recently, the United States of America opened up their Congress library and released documents of the names and the individuals who were on the United States Congress who actually owned and sold and traded black people. Now that's something that's new, and that's why I put that information out there, because I wanted to, a lot of black people to understand that. How can we even respect these people? How can we even why would we want to even be a part of these people or respect these people when you have people that's on the United States today? You have descendants that are still sitting on this government whose ancestors owned and sold your ancestors, and they were a part of the government. How much evidence do you need to understand that we cannot fuck with these people? Excuse my language. We can't do nothing with them. That's why I put the information on it. Like,
real.
Like, why are we even still compromising with these people? Why are we even looking at these people as some people that we think is our friends, that we think these are some righteous people, or we think these some people that got our interests in the best benefit, when you got bloodlines still sitting in this government today who owns your ancestors, and the white man put the information in your face. They put it out. They gave you the names of the criminals. They gave you the names of the criminals, man. What more you need? You know what I'm saying? But you still, but you still got black folks who still want to mess with these people. Think they can fit in.
That's crazy.
Think they can be a part of it. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. Crazy.
All right. Now, we've had numerous amount of our people die from gun violence at the hands of police. Do you think that was due to the fall of the Black Panthers?
Yes, most definitely. Most definitely. Not only the Black Panther Party, but several other movements from the 60s and the 70s, even all the way into the 80s. Hoover and COINTELPRO initiated the COINTEL program, which was a high and low intensity warfare strategy that they implemented on the Black Panther Party and on the Nation of the Republic of New Africa, the Nation of Islam, the Revolutionary Action Movement, the Black Liberation Army. Man, I can name so many movements and so many organizations. And also what people will quote today as black leaders, you feel me? When J. Edgar Hoover implemented the COINTEL program, that was a strategic program to remove these individuals out of the communities, destroy these organizations, so they could keep that type of policing intact. It was basically, a control mechanism like they do today. Like, people don't understand. Police killing of black folks is control. It's for controlism. You know what I'm saying? It's for them to stay, in control of this settler nation. Many people are not going to understand that. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have a deep political education. They don't have a deep understanding of our struggle. They don't even have a deep understanding to realize that you're in a war. This is warfare. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, it is.
Police terrorism and all these type of things is going to continue because they removed the individuals out of the community that had our communities under precise organization, which what we lack today. We lack precise organization. We don't have these community patrols no more. We don't have elders that are willing to get out, or even people in our generations. We don't have people that's willing to go out into the community and police the police. That element is gone when they attacked our elders in the 60s.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking on the Black Panthers, can you give insight on the story of Assata Shakur and Mutulu Shakur and how they were connected to Tupac?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can most definitely do that. Mutulu Shakur and Assata Shakur. To even understand their relationship, I'm gonna just take you back real fast. I ain't gonna be too long.
All right.
in order to understand these two individuals' story, you would have to take it back to one of our righteous fathers of the movement that many people still don't even know about. It was this individual by the name of El Saladin Shakur. And El Saladin Shakur was a follower of Malcolm X. He was a close companion and a close follower and a close friend of Malcolm X. He was from Jamaica, Queens, New York. If whoever watching this live, who's ever watching this live, write that name down. Saladin Shakur. He's a very important figure in the history of the Black Panther Party, the Republic of New Africa, Malcolm X organization, the OAAU. And if you can understand this individual and study this individual, who was the father of two other individuals of the Black Panther Party by the name of Lumumba Shakur and Zaire Shakur. These were two leaders of these were two main leaders of the East Coast Panthers, Panther Party of New York City, Bronx, Harlem, Brooklyn. Lumumba Shakur and Zaire Shakur are the sons of Saladin Shakur. So Dr. Mutulu Shakur moved to New York when he was young, because he moved to New York when he was young with his blind mother. He had a blind mother, and when they moved to New York, as a teenager, Mutulu, who didn't go by that name at first, he didn't have that name at first either. When he met this individual by the name of Saladin Shakur took Mutulu Shakur in like he was his own son. So Mutulu followed him. This is how Mutulu became Mutulu Shakur, because he took his name after Saladin Shakur. And it's ironic because Asada Shakur had the same similar story. You know what I'm saying? She was born in New York, though. She was born in New York City. She met Saladin Shakur, Lumumba Shakur, Zaire Shakur. They also took her in. This was like kind of like their daughter. They took her in because she was close friends to Zaire Shakur. And, this is how they became who they became, which is the Shakur family. You know what I'm saying? The Shakur family is like one of the main families of the Black Panther Party and the Republic of New Africa, so people can understand it in a common sense way. Mutulu Shakur and Asada Shakur, no, they are not blood related. But this thing of ours in the culture that we follow, we are family, regardless. Especially if you take that Shakur name. You ain't got to be blood related. But we take on the traditions of our ancestors, the village culture of our African ancestors, where anybody that's in that village or that clan, you don't have to be blood related, but you're a family. You know what I'm saying? So this is why when you be hearing things like Tupac, when it comes to Tupac, people be saying that Asada is his aunt. No, she's not his blood aunt, but she's the movement aunt. You know what I'm saying? She's the tribe aunt. Tupac. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Dr. Mutulu Shakur. He's Tupac's stepdaddy though, because he married Tupac's mama. She's another individual. Afeni is another individual who has the same similar story of Mutulu and Asada. She was taken in by the Saladin Shakur family. She became close to Saladin Shakur's sons, Lumumba and Zaire. So this is how she became a Shakur. So it's a family dynamic, even though a lot of them may not be blood related, but it's still a family dynamic because we look at it from a tribal worldview. You see what I'm saying? So, and yeah, that's basically their story on who they became.
Okay. What is the current state of Mutulu Shakur, and why is he still being held as a prisoner, even though he was wrongly convicted?
Yes. I'll just give a quick update. Well, a quick update on Dr. Mutulu is that a couple of months ago he was fighting strong. and this is the thing people got to understand. He was diagnosed with stage 4 bone marrow cancer, and so when you develop stage 4 bone marrow cancer, it's kind of hard to cure because there's not really no cures for it unless you get like a bone marrow surgery. And sometimes when you get a bone marrow surgery, it still might not cure the cancer because the cancer can go away and it can come back. And that's what the situation is going on with Matula right now. The cancer went away from the chemotherapy, the chemotherapy and things that he was receiving. But recently the cancer came back. So right now, it's kind of like we're in emergency mode right now because if we don't get Matulu out of prison now,
Yeah.
he's not gonna live long. He's not gonna survive long because the facility that he in, they're not capable of the proper technology to treat him with this kind of stage 4 cancer. You see what I'm saying? So this is why we're in urgent mode to try to get him out of prison. Because even if he don't really have that much time left, because he's in stage 4, you know what I'm saying? We just want to get him out so he can be around his family and friends and spend the rest of his days with his family and friends. You know what I'm saying? But as far as his case, let me just
Yeah.
say this: as far as his case, Matulu was given 976 days of good time. Federal prison system never credited him this time. They basically took this time from him. He still is owed this time. See, in 2016,
Say that
this was
again.
his.
Say that again. It kind of chopped up. My bad.
Oh, it's all good. What I was saying was that Tulu was credited with 976 good day time. He was credited with good time. The federal prison system took that time away from him. So 2016 was supposed to be his mandatory release date. He was supposed to get out in 2016. Those 976 days of good time that he should be credited with should have had him released mandatory. He's supposed to be out now. Being the assholes that the government is and the prison system is, and because of who Matulu is, they chose not to release him. So he's been denied parole total 9 times since he's been in prison. And recently, we tried to get him out on compassionate release. So you get an opportunity of 3 compassionate releases. You can go up to get 3 compassionate releases 3 times. They deny him all 3 times. So right now, he's being illegally held. He's supposed to have been released in 2016. So right now, what they're doing to him, they're doing this on purpose, brother. On purpose.
Yeah.
Because of his influence, because of who he are, because who
Right.
he
Right.
is. You see what I'm saying? So it's basically a serious injustice that we trying to bring attention to.
Yeah.
We trying to bring awareness to because we got to get him out now. Because if we don't get him out now, he's going to die in prison. He's going to die now, and it's a tragedy because this man was supposed to have been released. If he would have
Damn.
been released in 2000, if he would have been released in 2016, he probably would have never got bone marrow cancer. So now, to bring you up to date, this is why we're trying to get everybody to fill out the petition and bring awareness to the petition, because if we can get a certain amount of signatures on that petition, we can get Joe Biden and his administration to release him on a clemency release, get him released under clemency. Because at this point, his release date now is supposed to be 2024. So he's supposed to get out in 2 years. Matulu's not gonna make it to 2 years. God willing, I hope he do. God willing, I hope he do. But stage 4 cancer, that might not be the reality of Matulu's fate. You know what I'm saying? So we got to get him out now. We thinking in the terms of we got to free this man now. Because if he don't, he's going to die, man. He's going to die. This is why y'all see us. This is
Yeah.
why y'all see us in the family. This is why we're in so much of an urgent mode, because we don't want him to die in prison.
Damn. It's crazy.
bad situation, man. It's
You
looking
there?
very bad. It's looking very bad.
All right. I gotta ask you, man. Who is Monster Cody to you, and how did he fight for the people?
Oh yeah, Sonya Shakur, aka Monster Cody. Man, man, that's family right there, man. Like, you know, this is the man who took me under his wing. This is how I became a Shakur. I mean, along with Matulu, because people gotta understand, Monster Cody. You know what I'm saying, people don't know his story. I mean, I know many people probably know his story by now, but for people who don't know who Monster Cody was a famous individual known for cripping. He was a famous crip in South Central Los Angeles, California, and he went to prison in the 1980s. He wrote a book. If you don't got his book yet, he has a book that's out called the Autobiography of an LA Gangbanger by Monster Cody, aka Sonya Shakur. For people who want to learn about his life and learn about his story, basically everything is in that autobiography. 1986, man, Sonya Shakur, Monster Cody, man, he started down this road to travel down this road of transformation. He met this individual in prison by the name of Muhammad. And when he met Muhammad, who actually was a Muslim, he was a Muslim. He was a well-known Muslim, and he took Monster Cody under his wing. Monster Cody began to transform his life, and this is when Monster Cody met Matulu, and Matulu took Monster Cody under his wing. This is how Monster Cody changed his name to Sonya Shakur. For many people don't know how he became a Shakur, and many people don't even realize that Monster Cody was actually a well-known Shakur before Tupac was known. Many people didn't even know Tupac yet. You know what I'm saying? So when Sayika joined the New African Independence Movement, he became a member of the New African Independence Movement. This is how he jumped into the struggle to fight for our people, which started behind the prison walls. And he started to organize in prison and outside of prison. He even became a teacher when he was released from prison in the 90s. He became a teacher. He was actually a real teacher, educator of the movement. You know what I'm saying? And this is how I came into the movement. I came into the movement under, Monster Cody and Sayika Shakur. And he started this organization by the name of the August 3rd Collective of the New African Independence Movement, where he was trying to transform gangbangers into, revolutionaries, to get straight to the point. You know what I'm saying? Transform gangbangers into revolutionaries. And so he brought me into that organization, which I am the national spokesperson of that organization to this day, which is the August 3rd Collective New African Independence Movement. And yeah, man, Sonya Shakur, man, get his books. The only way you're going to be able to understand his story is to purchase his books. The first book is the autobiography of the LA Gangbanger. His second book was called Thug Life. You should cop that book as well. And the third book he made before he passed away was Stand Up Struggle Forward, which is an insight to his work, Black Power movement, the New African Independence movement. But yeah, man, a big rest in peace to Sonya Shakur, man, aka Monster Cody, man. That's my mentor. Man, a real stand-up guy, man. Like this one of the realest cats, man. That came into the movement, came into the game, man. People should get familiar with his story, man. Long live Sonya Shakur, aka Monster Cody.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Now, is there a new African movement going on today? And do you think this generation can overthrow our oppressors? My bad, man. My jaw kind of.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, the New African
You there?
Independence movement is. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
You there?
Can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you for real.
Can you hear me now?
It's kind of choppy.
Let me try to figure. Hold on. How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yo, yo. Yeah, yeah, you good. I can hear you.
Okay. Say that question one more time.
I said, is
Say that
there a
question
new
one more time.
African movement going on today? And do you think this generation can overthrow our oppressors?
Yeah. The New African Independence Movement is very active. The Republic of New Africa is very active. Matter of fact, we got New African Nation Day coming up in March, March 2022. People want to learn about the New African Independence Movement, you can go to our website, which is pg/rna.com. And you can learn about the New African Independence Movement and the Republic of New Africa on that website. But yeah, the New African Independence Movement is very alive. We all across the United States, man. We probably got like over 10,000 members. We got over like 10,000 members across the United States of America, and we even got members in in the Caribbean islands and in the African continent, on the African continent. The New African Independence Movement is very active and very live today. Do I think this generation can overthrow our oppressors? Um, yeah, man. If it all boils down to organization, though, we don't got no organization right now. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody want to do their own thing. Everybody want to be the leader of something, and not knowing that the only way that we can defeat our oppressors if we come together as a collective. We can only overthrow these people. You know what I'm saying? Through collective organizing, man. We being out organized. This is why we losing right now, and I'm gonna always make that emphasis. We cannot overthrow our oppressors if we do not organize. If we can't out organize these people, then we're going to continue to repeat the same cycle that we've been repeating for over the last 60 years, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it comes down to organizing. Right now, we're not organizing. So right now, I have doubts about that. I'll just put it like that. I have doubts about it.
Okay. Is this the same system that is this the same system that is against our people that crucified Christ?
I would say most definitely. I would say most definitely. Because the way I look at Christ, I might not look at Christ like how other individuals look at Christ. I look at Christ and the whole story of Christ, whatever name you want to call him. Um, my studies and how I view him as somebody that was a revolutionary leader. That was a revolutionary leader of an oppressed messianic tribe of people. So when I'm thinking of Christ, I'm looking at an individual that was a leader of oppressed people. So any government against oppressed people and that want to oppress people, I feel like Christ represented that in his lifetime. So yeah, so if you want to put it in that type of translation, yeah, I think the governments of today, even the United States government, yes, I think that is a government that's an oppressive government that was against Christ. Yeah, most definitely.
Okay, okay. Now, how can you be reached via social media, and what does it take to book you for speeches?
Um, where the main social media that people can really follow me on is Instagram. My Instagram handle is Haki _ Kweli _ Shakur. But you also can catch me on Facebook at Haki Kweli Shakur. And people can hit me up in my email if they want to book me for like speaking engagements, interviews. I even do history tours. So that's something that I do also. They can reach me in my email at Haki Shakur 83
Okay.
at gmail.com. and you can hit me up from there, and we can go from there.
Okay. All right, before we get out here, man, can you give us a top 5 dead or alive of your favorite artists of all time?
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, number 5, I got Nas at number 5. Got Ice Cube at number 4.
Said it again, you
Scarface at
chopping
number
up.
3. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, number 5, I got Nas.
You good.
Number 4, I got number 5, I got Nas. Number 4, I got Ice Cube. Number 3, I got Scarface. Number 2, I got Snoop. Number 1, I got Pop.
Okay, okay. That's what's up. That's what's up, man. I appreciate you coming on the platform, man. Anytime you're welcome to come back, man, and speak, you know, talk your shit or do whatever you gotta do, man, to spread the knowledge, man. For real.
I appreciate it, man. And, you
We
know,
finna get out
salute
of
to
here,
your
man.
platform.
This is Real
Salute to
Picasso
your.
from when I fell in.
Oh, go ahead.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. One love, one thug, man.
One love, one thug.
We out of here.